Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today I'm chatting with my new friend, Alison McGlone here, also known as Alley Cat. In the
That's me.
thing there. She is a fucking amazing comic book artist. Just to give you sort of a sample of what I mean when I say that, she's already lined up a little piece right here. So we'll pull that up right away. And that's one of her takes on Ghost Rider, the newest version of Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool. Is there anything else you got in there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bring up the top one there. That's your character, right? One you came up with.
That is my character. Bear with me here. Just got to find where I have it in the list. Thinking about it.
Apparently, my friend Jared's gonna be eating a gummy. There you go. Nightmare. Now explain this character a little bit. Because when we talked, you said it was like a cross sort of between other characters.
Yep, it's basically my variation of Raven and Spider-Man.
Which is quite the combo.
My favorite characters are Raven and Spider-Man, and I wanted to do my own variation of it, and I came up with Nightmare.
Very cool.
She is a teenage girl that's been through some shit.
No spoilers.
I'm still working on it. I've actually formed up with a creative team to fully bring it to life. So
very cool.
But yeah, more on that when things are more solid. But my friend Chuck and my friend Jim, friend Pete. Yep, Jim and Chuck and Pete. Those are the two who help me with it.
Very cool. I love the style too. I think that's really good.
Thank you. I have I generally refer to it as action figure anatomy because action figures are kind of cool. So
I have a few stashed away somewhere.
I don't think I have any.
I
might have one. I think I have one of magic. But yeah.
Oh yeah? I got Spawn and a bunch of shit. Anyway, but they're all still in their packages, most of them. Like the Alien Queen, I got that one too. But yeah, there's a bunch of them that I got just stashed away. I think the only one that's not really an action figure, so to speak, is the Crow behind me there.
Brandon Lee.
I don't know if you can see it. Yeah,
no, not really.
Kind of an old one there, right there.
I think I see it, but sort of.
Yeah, it's McFarlane Toys.
No,
Mr. Creator of Spawn.
Yep. I've met him a few times.
So Ollie has a question for you right away. Do you do both the original drawing and the inking?
Yes. In this case with these, yes. My friend Peter will be taking over the inking chores for me, though, so I can focus more on the penciling when I actually go to do the book.
Very good.
Bear with me here. Actually, that one's not open. Okay, so just to go there. So yeah, this would be the first page of thing I'm working on, where I've done everything on this. So and this is all me as well. So
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks totally legit. Like you could buy that right now, kind of thing.
Well, I will be doing colors on it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I will be getting there. But yeah, this is penciled and inked by me. And then a lot of my other stuff is penciled and inked by me. But I'm kind of happy that I will not have to do the inking in the future because it'll make me be able to focus more on my crazy pencils. So.
Yeah, and then you can probably produce more too, right? And then or
quicker. It'll be quicker.
Yeah.
Unless I can find a colorist that does the type of coloring I want, I'll be doing my own coloring. So.
All right, you already got some critiques already.
Well, thank you very much, overprotected atheist. I appreciate it.
And Skywatcher just joined us. Okay, anyways, let's get on with this. I think that's. I love that character. As soon as you showed it to me, I was like, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. So Basically, first and foremost, now that we've shown off some of your wares here, Alison, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Been looking forward to having you on here. So,
looking forward to be here. I skipped a D&D game for this.
Wow! Holy crap! That's okay. You can always do D&D.
Yeah.
But basically, what I do here is I talk to people about their journeys away from whatever belief systems they were once a part of, and I always ask them to sort of take us back into those days and kind of tell us how those dominoes started falling, and you found your way out free and clear.
So, what made me an atheist?
Basically, yeah.
All right then. Let's see. Well, I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
Because I'm Irish, so the Irish have to be Catholics. I think it's written in the laws. But
probably.
But I live in the Boston area, so Irish Catholics a big thing around here. I think there's more Irish in Boston than there are in Ireland. But anyway, it's a common joke anyway. So yeah, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school, and I started asking questions in religion class, which got some interesting responses from the nuns.
Did you ever get hit with a stick or something like that? Or
no, actually, in a lot of ways, they just told me, "Oh, it's metaphor. It's not like it's all just metaphor."
No, the old "it's metaphor." Yeah.
Well, like the Adam and Eve thing. So I went. So there's Adam and Eve. Then they had Cain and Abel. Human race is now done.
Yep.
Nothing
Technically,
else.
It would be.
It's like, oh, but Abel went to Nod. No, Cain went to Nod. And I'm like, where did they come from?
Yeah.
Yes, there's another person here if somebody saw the hand. So my friend Cain was hanging out. Don't worry about it. Just saw somebody had like two googly eyes popped up or something. So, so she's hanging out.
Right on.
But yeah, so that was the thing, and they're just like, it's just metaphor and not really go there and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, okay. There was the one time in religion class when we were asked, does anybody know what the letters above Jesus stand for on the cross? And I responded just bluntly with, I'm nailed right in. That didn't go over well.
Yeah, I imagine not.
That one got me in a little trouble.
Did you have to do the Bart Simpson writing lines on the board, or was there something else you had to do?
No, I'm pretty sure I got a detention for it, but whatever. My father couldn't
self-flagellation.
My father couldn't stop laughing when he was driving me home. He said, "What?" He's like, "Your mother will be very angry with us," and I'm like, "Okay." And he's just like, "Don't do that again," and that was like it. Just don't say that again. It's like the Crow reminds me of something else, because there's a joke in the Crow where when Gideon goes Jesus Christ, and he goes, Jesus Christ walked into a hotel, he hands the innkeepers 3 nails and says, can you put me up for the night?
Put me up for the night. Yeah.
So that would be something that I would have said. So one of the other things that got it is when I started getting into high school, I was being taught religion by a person who had a doctorate in theology. He was specialized in Hebrew scriptures and the New Testament. And he basically broke it down, being like, this is all wrong. None of this happened here. This couldn't have happened. There's all this. And he was just didn't even sugarcoat it. He's like, nobody ever crossed the Red Sea. If Moses parted anything, it'd be the Reed Sea, and it happens naturally. And like,
yep.
What? And it's like, yeah, if a 45-mile-an-hour wind hits it at this particular angle, it parts everything, because it's not as cool as Charleston Heston's. These are like exact quotes from him of things that he said. And I was just like, huh. Okay. I just kind of went with it. So And then when we got into like the New Testament stuff that he was teaching like my sophomore year, it was again, he just like would be like, now is like a lot of people interpret it as this, but it really doesn't mean that if you look at the original, like the Greek and all that, it goes back to it. And he basically would rip the whole thing apart and then like be like, this is what it really says. Interpret it as you wish. And that just got me thinking again. I was like, And then I was like confirmed into the Catholic Church and all that, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. It's like I'm just through at this point. It just didn't make logical sense to me at that point. Also, I was starting to get really into physics, and like I went to school for physics and computer science. I didn't do anything for art. My parents told me an artist will never make money.
Which is
I'm now doing art, so I don't really make a lot of money though. But
in time,
maybe we'll see. Not that worried about it. But yeah, so I went to MIT, and as soon as you start really getting into deeper levels of physics and biology and stuff, I just completely lost religion at that point. It was just gone. I flirted with studying some other beliefs like Wicca and a few other things, but I never really stayed with anything long.
Me too.
Just doesn't work for me. I called myself agnostic for a very long time, and now I just refer to it as I just say I'm an atheist pretty much going forward. I also did ghost hunting for quite a long time.
Oh,
never found one.
I wonder why.
I've seen a few weird things that I can't explain.
Sure.
But I don't call that a ghost. It's something I can't explain. If I went back and looked harder, I might be able to figure out what caused it.
Yeah.
I had what I'd consider an experience. It was something I saw across the street, which is what got me interested into it. It was this weird cloud that kind of moved as if it was like crawling. And the only thing I can come up with is maybe it was a cloud of insects. But it was weird that it like got me to stop and be like, what the hell was that? And that's when I started kind of getting into the ghost hunting and other type stuff. And I never saw anything quite like that again. And I said, I'm not even calling that a ghost. I don't know what it was. It was weird.
Strange phenomenon.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a cloud. It could have been a cloud of insects. It could have been the fog cloud that was moving oddly. I said it was, I don't know what it was, but it doesn't make it a ghost.
No.
But yeah, so like, and I did a lot of like ghost hunting with the Society of American Magicians and things of that nature, and you really can't fool magicians. So, like, in the style of ghost hunting we did was based off of what Houdini developed. So it's nothing like you'd see on TV or anything of that nature. It's yeah, I agree with Mark on that one. That would have been concerning.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yes, that might be concerning.
That would worry me, and I'd probably think maybe there's a little bit more to this, but that's about it. But yeah, so like I did stuff like that. I did a bunch of ghost hunting, never found anything.
Did anything at all weird kind of happen that you were suspect of at first, or?
Oh yeah, we'd hear weird shit that we'd go and investigate and things, and we could usually find out what it was. Typically, it was a squatter.
No.
In an area or something like that. We one point we did find somebody who had rigged the place. And again, that's the whole thing. You're not going to fool magicians.
Right.
It's just when you start like looking around at things and the chandeliers move at this time. They always seem to be moving exactly as a certain thing. It's like, well, either the ghost is really bored or there's something setting this off. And then we'd find our way into the attic and found the mechanism.
No, there you go. I always found it kind of weird is how people could think that ghosts who are allegedly are ethereal, I guess you would say, or non-corporeal.
Yep.
Right? How could they touch anything? And why aren't they falling through the fucking floor?
Why aren't they falling through the fucking planet?
Yeah, or anything like that. Like,
Are they affected by gravity?
what's keeping them together?
Are they magnets?
Are they magnets?
Magnets.
But
that would mean they'd have to be made out of metal.
Or just affected by the magnetic sphere in some way. I mean, technically we are as humans, but ghosts get more of a effect. I don't know. And like all that crap that people are like, oh, well, you listen to this thing that we caused EVP. Well, why couldn't you hear it in the first place? Because if you hear it on playback on the recording device, that means you should have been able to hear it initially.
Yes.
Why are you able to hear it now?
Yeah, well, let's say they imprint it.
Yeah, and
that's some of the answers I've gotten.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Most of the stuff that you get that's weird, the weird white noise stuff, it's radio waves. I mean, you literally could be picking something up from 40 years ago.
And no, Canadian Alderman, it's not incorporeal. It's non-corporeal. Or non-corporeal.
Yeah, no.
Or not corporeal.
Yeah, not corporeal. So it doesn't
meaning
have
having
form.
Having no body or form.
But yeah, so that would be effectively like this stuff like that. Like we never took any of that into seriously. We never took. There was a lot of stuff we didn't take that you'd see like on TV that we just never did. Like the EVP stuff, we never did because it was it's just bullshit. So
yeah. You never. So when you say on TV, you're talking shows like Ghost Hunters and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I used to actually live near their place.
Did you really?
I lived like right near Taps, where they operated out of in Warwick. Like I lived like almost like right next to their headquarters.
Wow.
Yep. I never interacted with them or anything. I just happened to live like right there. Like you drive by, you see their office had a little logo. It said Taps on it. I do have a funny story about going to the Warren Museum though years ago, and this is when Ed was still alive, so it was definitely a while ago. And they were saying, "Don't touch anything." I touched everything in that place.
Rule breaker.
I touched Annabelle. Originally, they didn't have a lock on the door.
Really?
Yeah, so opened it up and went to the two eyes. Figure if anything was going to kill me, it would have been that right there.
Well, yeah, they say that. They say that she's the one that's the real one, right? Like, yeah, and the Dybbuk box was the other one. I think that everyone would freak out about.
Oh, yeah, the Dybbuk box thing.
Yeah, from old Jewish lore.
Yeah.
I mean, they some kids or whatever bought it off of eBay, and they had all this shit go wrong.
Inspired by it.
Yeah,
the movie is actually pretty good.
Yeah. I can't get scared of that shit anymore.
I don't get scared of horror movies. I love them, but I can't get scared of them. I was joking with a friend. I went to see Dune the other day in the theaters, and like an IMAX and everything, and they had a commercial for a new Paranormal Activity, and I was like, they made another one? I'm like, that looks terrible. I'll have to watch it.
You like those B-movie type ones too?
Oh god, yeah. I watch my guilty pleasure is found footage horror movies. So
oh yeah. Like Blair Witch kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's the Blair Witch when it first came out, when it was still in art theaters. I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, that looks really cool. And people are like, it's real. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, well, it looks real. I'm like, that's the point. Like, there's no legend of a Blair Witch. They're like, how do you know? I would know. There's the Bell Witch.
Yeah.
Not quite the same thing.
No, not even close. Another found footage one that I actually just kind of rewatched recently and realized just how terrible it is the one, what are they, the McPhersons or whatever, they get abducted.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I know the
where
one
they're
you're
all
talking about.
celebrating the little one's birthday, and then
Yeah,
they go out and they see the aliens, and
I remember that one. That one was
they get
terrible.
yeah, yeah. Especially when you see the movie, like they showed on like the computer or whatever, and they showed the pictures of some of the scenes, and then they showed the people that were dressed as the aliens sitting there in their costumes, holding the heads beside them.
Yep.
Like that's going to
Really,
spoil the
Kayla?
damn thing.
Really. Darkening Abyss is Kayla.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, oh,
Let's see.
I was just contributing to a point someone was making, but
Oh.
put it as a question, so I also
okay.
put it as a question.
Oh, okay. I just saw your name pop up there, and I'm like, what were you asking? I'm like, counter question. Why do you see things after a bright light? Yeah, it's rods and cones. It's literally your eyes. It's picking up everything around you.
Yep.
Their point was a question, so I just also made my point.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't see that. I didn't see the normal. I was like, okay. This threw me.
I was attempting to contribute to that without like talking, but now I'm talking anyway. So hi.
But yeah, so basically, my deconversion story is went to Catholic school, realized it was crap, and basically got out of it from there. And it's kind of boring in a lot of ways, I guess.
Well, I mean, some people it takes a long time to come out of it, and some it doesn't.
Don't mind me. I just need a little bit more of my soup. Sorry, I'm hungry. People can watch me. Do you eat soup or drink it?
No, you eat it technically, especially if it has stuff in it, right? So
yeah, it does. It has a lot of stuff in it. Let's see.
A soup that eats like a meal.
Oh yeah, Campbell's.
Yeah.
I remember those commercials. I'm old.
That's when they first came out with the chunky.
Yep.
Junky.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's a question for me, I think. Are family members still religious? My mother a little bit. I would never really. We were high holiday Catholics at most to begin with.
Same with us most of the time.
And my dad,
except when we were little.
My grandmother and grandfather, they were very into the church and things. And like my aunt and uncle and their kids went to the church and all that a lot. My cousin, she would be the middle one of that family. I would be very surprised if she was still going to church.
Really? Why?
She's not. I don't think she really had believed in it in the first place. And more like just went because she had to.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't seen her in quite a few years. She lives in, like I said, I live in Massachusetts, and she's in New York, which you would think you wouldn't really be that far, but New York City's tough for me to move around in. So, and I think they're now in Pennsylvania. When my father passed, he was quasi-religious at most.
Mm-hmm.
He said my father died of cancer, effectively of cancer, complications due to cancer.
Mine too. Yeah.
And he was saying, like, because he was given 6 months to live, and he lived 7 years.
That's pretty good.
And they were like, he was just saying, he goes, I don't know, I've lived this long. I mean, maybe there's something looking out for me. I'm like, no, it's called medical science.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the drug that they gave you, which was experimental, worked. That's the reason.
Yep. No gods involved there.
Yeah. And then as they said it would eventually stop working. And it did.
That one always kind of struck me as weird, because I've heard that before, where this drug will work until it doesn't work. And you're like, what does that even mean? What do you mean it's going to stop working? I guess your body develops
the body develops an immunity to it, and it will reject it. And since cancer attacks the body, it kind of will figure ways around it too. So, and since this drug didn't work on enough people, he got it for the rest of the time he needed it. but they stopped pursuing it as a cancer treatment. So I don't remember what the drug was or anything, but it was in some clinic. I guarantee he's written up in some medical paper someplace.
I have a friend like that too. Something was really wrong with him, and they couldn't figure out what it was. But they did, however, remove something from the side of his head that was like a tumor. It was non-cancerous, but it was wreaking all kinds of havoc on him. So they couldn't figure out exactly what it was, though.
No, what was it? I mean, I have multiple sclerosis, and I'm the only one in my family, like of a close, like I have no close relatives that have it.
Right.
So it's one of those weird diseases that they don't know what causes it. Maybe it's when I poked Annabelle in the eyes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, my uncle had muscular dystrophy, which is a little bit different.
That one sucks.
But yeah. My brother's sister's husband, or my dad's sister's husband. Sorry.
Former roommate. Former roommate.
No. The husband was the one that had the muscular dystrophy. So.
Yeah, I was just making a bad joke. Spaceballs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Brother's cousin's sister's former roommate or something.
Yeah. The rumor mill type thing.
What does that make us? Absolutely nothing.
That's a funny movie. So, when did you start getting into doing the drawing for comics?
I have been drawing pretty much since I had some friends in elementary school who liked to draw, and when I was hanging out with them, I started drawing with them. Like, I've always drawn in a way, like, unless the kids played with toys and stuff, I didn't. I would paint, I would draw, I'd do stuff like that. I just had no interest. And like I said, when I was in elementary school, I really got into drawing, and I started to want to do comic strips. And I'd like do my own variations of Garfield and things. Then I saw Caddyshack when I was probably way too young to actually have seen that movie, but the gopher is the only thing that stuck in my mind, so I had a gopher comic strip. But yeah, so I would do that, and I kind of went from there. And I also like comic books, which my mother hated. My father encouraged. And I got into comics pretty hardcore. I never really thought about drawing comics. Like, I was just more comic strips and all that. I'd read comics, and I read a lot of Spider-Man, Teen Titans, and X-Men, things like that. And I remember when we were going, like, I had family up in New Hampshire. We were going up there for a few weeks to visit and stuff. And before we went up there, we were in the local convenience store, and I was looking at the spinner rack. My dad's just like, grab a bunch. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed, 10 or 12 comics off the thing and bought them all. And I was reading them on the way up and everything. And one of them that actually surprised me that I really liked was a G.I. Joe comic. The thing I liked about it had no words. It was the silent issue that introduced the character Storm Shadow.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, I remember that.
And I didn't really know anything about G.I. Joe, except for it was some military thing. But I was like, this is cool. And I started kind of, occasionally I'd flip through it more. Like if I saw it on the the JR is just like, well, I'm an atheist, saw Caddyshack too young. Sorry, when I see the thing flip, it catches my eyes. But yeah, so I would just kind of flip through them on occasion, see if there was another silent issue or if it had the ninjas on it. And I'd grab like an issue or something like that. But I wasn't really a huge collector, but that issue stuck in my head. And I was like, okay. Then I think it was 1989. And I went to grab, the latest Spider-Man comic. And the art was completely different.
Oh,
it was just like, the heck is this? And, I got it. And I really liked it. The next month, I picked up the next issue.
Is that
Then
when
the next
McFarlane
issue
took over?
introduced Venom. And that's when I wanted to draw comics, was after basically Todd McFarlane. He completely got me to want to draw comics. I completely changed my art style. I got to the point where I would like throw down his comics onto things. I would trace him to try to figure out how he made the lines and everything. There was something about his line work that just pulled me in. And I fell in love with it. So I followed him all the way through. I collected Spawn. Anything he did, I would buy for a very long time. And I went back and I got all the old stuff that he did. I got like all of his Hulks. I got his run on Batman when he did Batman Year 2, things like that. So, but yeah, so that's what got me into that. I jumped all on with Image and all that. Used to be a big fan of like Jim Lee's stuff, and Mark Silvestri I love his stuff.
Silvestri's great. Yeah, I used to love Marv Wolfman, one of the Teen Titans.
Yeah, he was a
back
writer.
in the day.
Yep, and George Perez.
George Perez, yeah, the Wolfman Perez team for the Titans that's when they had the X-Men crossover too.
Yep, and that's also when they introduced Raven. Was with that.
Yes,
that run.
Yep. Well, and Starfire I think came in at that point too.
Starfire, Cyclops, the Cyborg,
and,
yeah, Starfire, Cyborg, Raven. Beast Boy was called Changeling at the time because they weren't using his Doom Patrol name.
That's right. Also, they had some other newer characters like Jericho that came in.
Mm-hmm. They came in during the Judas contract.
Yes, that's right.
They had Deathstroke was introduced in the second issue.
Yep.
Deathstroke, the Terminator.
I got a Deathstroke mask actually.
That's cool. One eye and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll show you.
Cool.
Right there.
Oh, that's neat.
Pretty cool.
I like that. Is that
a bunch of
video games? Is that the one that is that from?
I think so. I think it is styled after the video game character.
Yeah. So that's like what got me into doing comics, and I found this thing called Akira. Mm-hmm. That got me into manga.
Great movie.
Yeah, and anime in general.
Yeah.
I saw Akira in the theater.
Yeah.
Around here. Like before anybody, like late 80s or something.
Yep. 89, I think, is when I saw it.
Yeah. And like saw it like at the Wang Theater, and they had they would like on weekends they'd show like the Star Wars trilogy when there was only one of them. All the Indiana Jones movies when there was only 3 of them. But yeah, so it's like you'd go there and they had Akira there. I went and saw it and I was like, this is amazing. I must have more. And I got into trying to find as much manga as I could. And I knew of a Japanese bookstore that was in Boston, which technically is in Cambridge, but who really pays attention to that? Yeah, everybody thinks Boston and Cambridge are the same city.
Yeah.
They're not. So, but it was a Kiyokinia Books, which they also have one in New York City. They used to have a few more of them, but the only one I believe that's left is the one in New York. I'm not even sure if it's around anymore. But they had this huge area of manga, and like the entire bottom floor was just all manga. And I'd go in there.
There's a lot, so it's not surprising.
Yeah, there's this gigantic floor of manga, and like nobody was really reading manga over here yet. And I'd go in there, and I couldn't read Japanese, but the art looked cool. That's all I cared about. Figured out what it meant later.
Ultimately, they ended up coming up with English versions of the stuff, anyways, right?
Mm-hmm. So. Yep. And that influenced my art. So if you're looking at my stuff, you can see where I have a bit of a Japanese flair to it, in that sense, like a manga tradition. In that sense, I often sometimes refer to myself as an American mangaka.
Interesting.
Well, I definitely have. I have, when I lay out my books and stuff, and I lay out my pages, I have more of a manga influence on it, like with the way I do timing and things. But I mean, my style is, if you know what you're looking at, you can definitely see where you can see where I have influences from both sides of the pond, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I have influences from some European comics and things too. So, like, I've read more than my share of heavy metal and other things.
Oh yeah.
I don't really have to worry about looking at boobs. I could do that every day if I wanted to.
Yeah, I'm almost at the point where I can do that.
But yeah, so
do a little plucking maybe, but
But yeah, so that's basically how I got into drawing comics. Said I blamed Todd McFarlane. I even told him that. So,
did you?
Yep. He said I did a good job then.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Oh, he reviewed my stuff when I was really little, like kind of like in 1989. It might have been 13, if that.
Okay.
12, 13, somewhere around there. And he was like, "Oh, this is great. Keep up the good work." I'm like, Todd McFarlane likes my comic art. It sucked, but I had no concept of what the hell I was doing, but I was trying, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah. Plus, excuse me. The reality of it is, even like artists of his level can still see talent, even though it's not polished yet. They can see the potential. Right?
Oh yeah.
So that's why I would say something like that.
I was at New York Comic Con one year. I'd gone up there with some friends. Like, I've shown at New York Comic Con stuff, but this one I was just going as an attendee. I had my portfolio with me. I was trying to shop around a bit. And I probably wasn't really ready for it yet, but I was definitely getting there. But I definitely wasn't really there yet.
Right.
And I happened to stop by Neil Adams' table, which...
Oh yeah.
And I didn't ask him to look at my portfolio or anything. I actually went there to get his signature on some books I brought, and I wanted to buy something from him. And I had put down my portfolio, and I was looking at a couple of things. The next thing I know, he's flipping through it. He goes, "Oh, this is yours?" I'm like, "Yep." And he says, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, you didn't come to the portfolio thing?" I'm like, "I just got in. Like, I literally just got off the train and came here." And he's like, "Oh, that's too bad. You should have been here earlier. You could have gotten a pretty good review." And he's like flipping through, goes, "Well, this sucks. This sucks. This is terrible. Don't quit your day job." Like, going through, he goes, and then he looks, he goes, "Oh, that's good. More of this." And then he went and he pulled out some blank paper, and he like redrew over all the stuff he was complaining about, saying, "No, you should do it more like this. You should lay it out more like this." He goes, "That doesn't work like that. Do this." And go in, and like, he literally gave me like a lesson right there.
That's cool.
So first he was a dick, then he was awesome.
Criticism is often harsh.
Yeah. I have this feeling that if he didn't find something he liked, he probably just would have closed it and said the hell with it. Because from what I understand, he's pretty harsh.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Mikey? I think Mikey should jump in here for the remainder.
Hello.
It's Mikey.
I kind of like that last little part you're saying, like, he was like, sucks. Ooh, more of this. That's exactly how I am with anybody younger than me. When they ask me for like, how's my stream look? Can you listen to my band songs? And so I'm like, yeah, don't ever try to sound like that band again. You're trying to sound like a lot of dispute, right? Yeah, there's already a lot of dispute. Do this stuff. This is your original stuff. Do that. That's much better. No one can copy this, but yeah, this band already exists. So no, we don't need more of that.
Well,
it's okay to be influenced by them, though.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like with my art style. A lot of people, when they first see it, they're like, "It's so original," and I'm like, "Thanks." And then like I say some of the people who influenced me, and they look at it, they go, "Oh, I can see it now."
Yeah.
I mean, me and my old guitar player, we used to, because I play guitar too. So we'd like, that was like the challenge. Like every practice was who could come up with a better riff, and we would out riff each other. But then we instantly got very good at, that's Avenged Sevenfold. No, it's not. No, you slowed it down and you started up higher. But he's like, fuck. And then I would come in. I'd come in and he's like, that's Bullet for My Valentine. I was like, God damn it, you're right.
I was gonna say, well, the next year you're gonna be quoting Metallica. So
Yeah, like we would like recognize each other's faults, and we just kind of like use that as fuel to make ourselves better at doing things. So I always love that kind of absolutely heartless, just slash you at the gizzard to tell you that that's not a good job, because it helps.
It does. I mean, the thing that really got me to redo everything is I have a friend, Rob, who I heavily look up to as an artist. And I asked him, this is actually when I was diagnosed with MS, and I basically had reached out to him for the first time saying, you know, your art basically helped me get through all the time I was in the hospital, because I was in the hospital for like a month.
Oof.
Between the main hospital stay and like rehab and stuff like that. And he really helped me through it, and just with his art and stuff like that online. And I reached out to him and I thanked him for it, and I asked if I could ever pay him to give me a few art lessons.
Right.
A couple of days later, he shot me a video where he basically broke down all my art and told me how to fix it all.
Yeah.
And then he worked with me back and forth. A few years later, I'm doing this.
That's awesome.
So I owe a lot to him. And I do his video editing now. So
very cool. Very cool.
And a video editor is worth their weight in gold.
Yep.
I've been told that.
Yep.
The last job before I was basically fully disabled, I used to work for a PBS station. I did some of the video editing for basically all their spots on TV and stuff.
Very cool.
WGBH Boston?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Zoom. For
Come on,
Zoom.
Yep. It's the only job I really enjoyed.
So my PBS was KCTS9, which was Seattle.
Oh,
See, Canadians
I
always...
I knew it was West Coast, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Really?
Anything
Canadians
past,
West Coast?
Anything past the Mississippi begins with a K.
Yeah.
We have WTTW.
You're just lucky then. I don't know where you are.
I'm in Chicago.
Chicago's weird.
Yes, that's what the W's are for.
Chicago is weird, but yeah.
That's what I was like,
Chicago is a it's a focal point of transportation, so you get everything there.
Yes, we do.
But
including
typically speaking, anything past the Mississippi is K. Everything east of the Mississippi is W. That's general rule of thumb.
And I'm from St. Louis originally, so I can't even remember what our PBS station is. It's been, I don't know, 100 years since I've lived in St. Louis and watched PBS TV or anything like that. What was the other thing I was going to ask you? Oh, as soon as you said like a cloud of insects going across the street, I was transported to Constantine. Did you see that with Keanu Reeves?
Yep.
Remember the Vermin Man?
Yep.
Oh my God, the Vermin Man was so fucking gnarly, man. I hated him. I absolutely hate. Like, I'm not scared of shit, but I was like, oh, that's a lot of bugs. Like, I like bugs, but damn, you got snakes and crabs and all kinds of shit coming out of him.
I may have made a girly noise when I saw that scene for the first time. So.
I was like, oh, I don't like him. He is not a friend. He's not a friend.
It's weird. I see like movies like Arachnophobia and stuff like that. They're like, oh, spiders. I'm like, yep, it's Spider.
Cool. Yep, that is Ann Spider.
I saw like, and I see like the Vermin Man. Oh, that's gross. That's just too many bugs.
It's too many bugs, and they're way too organized.
Yeah,
I don't need that in my head. That locusts and shrimp and fucking every invertebrate I can think of can somehow form a super team like the LA Lakers and just take over. I need that to not be a thing so I can sleep some nights.
No, if there are a bunch of bugs, they got to be a Jersey team.
Hey, the Nets will get there. Give it time. Thanks, Kyrie Irving. Just a sack.
The Route 95 Knicks.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad for any. I feel bad for any NBA team that was in the 90s because they had the Jordan effect. That you didn't win shit. He won everything. So a lot of good teams out east that just didn't have a chance.
No. Well, Jordan is Jordan. So
yeah, there's a goat running around winning all the chips.
I mean, what was it that I mean, the Bulls for a little while they were trying to be a mini Celtics team because they got three in a row.
What's that's always bugged me.
Couldn't get the 9.
No, Celtics.
What about them?
It should be Celtics. Is that what you're
It
thinking?
should be Celtics.
Yeah.
Both are technically correct.
I hate words that are pronounced two ways.
But yes,
No,
Celtic is
somebody-
the more common way.
Somebody just decided to say both are okay because it's
That's how-
from what I know, it was always
That's how
Celtic.
common nomenclature works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
language is a slippery thing.
Especially English. It's literally a hodgepodge of a bunch of other things that was stolen and crammed into this.
Yep, and it's changed hugely over the years.
Yeah, definitely look back at like the way they used to speak in colonial times.
Oh yeah.
So you talked about like manga. You kind of dabbled into like talking about anime. Are you a super anime fan now? And what are you watching now? If yes.
Let's see what I'm watching now. I'm currently trying to get myself through Demon Slayer.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so good. So
I've
good.
watched a few episodes of it. I just haven't had time to sit down and really binge it. So, I mean, it's like all on Netflix or something. So I just had to sit
It
down
is.
and like watch it. But I really liked what I've seen so far. And the one that everybody keeps telling me to watch that I haven't is My Hero Academia.
Also very good.
Mm.
Also very good. It's
It's all right.
it's a bit slower. You know, it's not like Demon Slayer is like it's for purists. You know what I'm saying? It's like straight up awesome. In episode 1, you get all your exposition, and then we're off to the fucking races. Let's get this shit going. Let's get cracking. We're gonna start training montages. This is gonna be great. And My Hero is okay. Let's take 7 episodes where you can build bonds with your friends and learn one thing. So it's slower, but it is good. It's very funny. It's very funny. I'll give it that. Next year for Halloween, Neil, you have to be All Might.
Why?
You're
I can
All
see
Might.
that.
You're All Might, dude.
I could see that.
You're so All Might.
I could definitely see that.
And I can be Deku.
Kayla agrees too.
Yeah. Oh, let me find a good background for that.
Yeah, I was just gonna do the same thing. What's with all the coins? Stop texting me, Ollie.
Ollie, knock it off. That's cheating. Just smoke the weed if you want to smoke it. Oh my. Yeah, your deconversion seemed like super kind of chill, like mine. Like I just kind of didn't have to go to church anymore, so I kind of stopped. It sounds like that was kind of the same for you, where you just weren't forced to go, so you're just like, all right, I'm out of here.
Basically, that's kind of what it was. I've had numerous interactions with idiot religious people who try to convert me at different times, but
Ooh, tell me more. Tell me more.
Mhm.
when I was going to school, this is when I was going to college, and I had made friends with a girl. I don't remember her name. It's like 20-something.
Oh, I made really close bonds with this.
Wasn't a close
what's her
bond.
name?
Definitely wasn't a close bond. I want to say it was like Diana or something, but I'm not positive of her name. But yeah, so I'm like 18 years old or something. She's similar age. She's married, and she wants to have kids like very badly. And she's hyper religious.
Oh boy.
And she wasn't going to MIT. I know that. She was going to another school in the area, but I just don't remember what it was. And I wasn't sure how she got into it, but that's beside the point. So one time we're just sitting around, and she's like just preaching to me of how I have to return to Christ and all that, and like
here we
he
go.
loves me and all these other things. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Like
Whatever you say, lady.
I'm like, yep. Jesus is my co-pilot. Then I crashed into the Andes and was forced to eat him.
What was that movie called? Alive?
Alive.
Yeah.
Oh,
When I was in school, everybody was reading the book, and like somebody told me what it was about. I'm like, why are you reading that?
fucking grizzly, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one of the weird people that tried to convert me. She must have like kept spilling Jesus crap for a good half hour, 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
At me. And I just let her rant with it. And I'm just like, nope. Like, no, Jesus isn't for me. I tried it. Just wasn't my time. It wasn't my thing.
I switched to decaf.
And, you know, of course I had to do the obligatory when she asked me, well, you know, have you found Jesus? I said I didn't know he was lost.
For someone so
Apparently he
all-powerful, you guys are all looking for him. He should be very easy to spot.
And, yeah, exactly. And this one
Quite
time,
calm.
I was working for Software Etc. / Babbage's before they all became GameStop.
Yeah.
The manager of the
I was
place.
gonna say, I knew that name.
Manager of the place, a friend of mine, Steve. His wife was a druid. She was weird, but anyway.
Druids.
But
Could
they
she
would do
wild
the.
shape?
Yeah, she would wild shape into like, I don't know, form of a couch potato. But anyway, so we were at you know, it was like Halloween. They do, you know, the Halloween thing where kids would trick or treat in the mall. Back when malls were big with this stuff.
I used
And,
to do that as a kid. I thought I was the only one because we were broke and we lived in apartments. So we would go to the mall and trick or treat. I thought that was just us.
A lot of people did it. I mean, I remember my best friend said that when she was a kid, she was trying to get to the mall to do it because it was like the thing to do. And by the time they got there, the mall closed because it was so jam packed trying to get into it.
Jeez.
So I'm sitting there working, and I think I was dressed up as like Princess Leia or something like that, with like a lightsaber. And you know, just doing whatever. And Steve came in. He's dressed as Jesus. He had like, you know, his super thin, long haired, brown eye. He was Jesus. He was like the depiction of Jesus that you would kind of think about. People would call him that jokingly. It's like, yep, and he's Jewish. So he came in dressed as Jesus, and he goes, "Sorry, I'm late. Somebody put this big fucking rock in my way."
Well played.
That didn't go over well with them all.
Oh, come on, Mall.
We didn't care.
You're selling fake
Carol.
Rolex. You're selling fake Rolexes. Let me fucking have my jokes.
We didn't.
You
care.
know, I was working in the mall when that whole trick or treating started in the malls. I remember the first time, because I'd been working there already for a couple of years, and we didn't have that the previous 2 years. And then the third year, all of a sudden, these kids, a couple of kids come in, and they're like trick or treating. I'm like, what? What do you mean? What?
Give me some candy, motherfucker. You know what this means.
Like, we don't have any fucking candy. What are you talking about? And apparently, we had gotten a memo that they were going to have it done this year, but I never saw it. So I was the assistant manager at the time,
That's awesome.
so I didn't have any candy. So I said, all right, go do a circuit and come back. And then I went and I grabbed a bunch and started giving out fucking candy to kids and stuff. So,
That's funny.
yeah.
So that was a funny Jesus thing that happened. Let's see. I remember it was somebody else who was like, again, I was working at Software Etc. And we used to sell Bible programs.
Oh, yay.
And
My mom had like 48 CD-ROMs of like different versions of the Bible. I'm like, this is such a waste.
Yep.
This is such a waste.
So this woman came in to return one.
Oh.
And I was the only one there. And I was one of the keys. So I was like I was the lowest level manager. I was like a third key. So Steve was in charge. My friend Jeremy was the assistant. Then I was the third key. So I'm sitting there working alone. And the big thing was I basically got slightly more money to be able to open the place and run it by myself. Wasn't enough money. But anyway, I got like discounts on video games. So it was good. So yeah, so she comes in. She has her receipt, and she shows me the receipt and all that. And I'm looking at it, and at the time, the return policy was quite good on software. It was 7 days on like a PlayStation game, but it was 14 days on any like regular software. It was a good 3 months out.
Oh yeah, that's yours now, lady.
So I'm like, I'm sorry, this is beyond the return date. And she's like, well, I couldn't get down here before. I'm sorry, but this is beyond the return date. And she was like, he goes, well, I want to speak with the manager.
I am your manager, B.
That'd be me. I'm sorry. It's beyond the return date. She goes, you have to answer to somebody. I'm like, I answer to Jesus. Apparently you don't, because you have to return his good word and not take it upon the faith that it is.
Like, what is that? How do you return Jesus? Is it like get to say I'm a Karen now? Give me the manager.
So she picked up the thing and left very quickly. I never saw her.
She said, "Can you please get God on the phone? I'd like to talk to Jesus's manager because this software is not what I expected."
So when my boss came in, when Steve came in later, and I was like, if you get a phone call from a crazy religious woman about a Bible software, I didn't do it. And he's just like, what didn't you do? I told him the story. He's like, that's good. I wish I had thought of that.
You heard it here first, everybody. You only get 14 days to return Jesus. After that is yours.
You're SOL after that. We don't want his word back.
So don't even think about trying.
The look on her face though when I said that, oh, if I had a camera. Oh, so good. I may have been a bit of a wise ass growing up. I haven't really run out of it.
Oh, I definitely was. What do you mean it was? I'm still
definitely
a fucking
still am.
wise ass. Yep.
I'm trying to remember some of the other stupid religious people I've had encounters with. Well, I know there's one guy in like the Atheist Experience group on Facebook who's been posting some really stupid shit lately.
Oh no.
I've definitely said some dumb things to him. But,
so all these coins are happening because of B. Just
is that who it is?
Yeah.
I was like, that is one person. That has to be one person.
One of the first one was, damn it, Ollie.
See what you did there. It's nice.
It
Yeah.
was only 3 days to return Jesus. Oh, Hellbound Hillbilly, that was funny.
You better have a receipt too.
Yeah,
damn right. You're not going to get anything back without a receipt.
I'm a retail manager and I'm so past the point in caring at this point. Just tell me anything. I bought a dragon for $500. I don't have my receipt. I'd like to return it. Here's your $500. Just get away from me. Just go away. Whatever you want to go away, I will give it to you. Whatever you want.
Oh, I definitely got to that point. Especially like I did work for a major telecommunication company for a while. I won't exactly say the name, but I definitely did customer service work for them with troubleshooting internet, phones, TVs. Yeah. And I get some interesting calls. I had one guy call and said that a blind illusionist was somehow hijacking his signal and showing him all the stuff that he stole from him on his TV.
What?
I don't even know, but that's literally one of the calls I had.
How does he know the illusionist is blind?
I'm just like, sure, I'll send a tech out. We had a general rule of when in doubt, dispatch out.
Yeah, Larry, when you go over to the place over on Smith Street, make sure you bring your pepper spray. All right, just trust me on this one.
Yeah.
Well, one of the outside techs went to a place and to do something at someone's house. I don't remember what it was. And they're like, oh yeah, the router and all that's down in the basement. And so he's getting ready to go down. The person like swings a mop like above his head and like starts whacking the things around him. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? She's like, I gotta hit the ghosts.
Oh, hell no. Your internet's gonna be broken forever. Goodbye.
Yep.
Ghosts in the Wires.
Ghost in the Shell. So good.
Yeah. Ghost in the Machine.
We did have I did have a couple of interesting ones where somebody called in and were like no wireless signal would work in this room no matter what they would do. They could never get it to work in there. And I'm like, where's the router? And they're like, they even said like, well, we've moved it into this room. We go out of the room, we can get the signal. We go into the room, we can't. I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
So I was trying to think of it, and I'm like, whereabouts in the room is it? They're like, oh, it's near this door and all that. I'm like, okay, so that explains how you can get it outside, but not in the room itself. They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. What's above it? They're like, the ceiling. What's in the ceiling?
Bunch of electronics.
Oh, they were like wires, stuff like that. I'm like, okay. No, it's no lead. Lead wouldn't let it. You would, if you're in the room, even if it had lead, it should work. But they
it's not Superman's vision.
Yeah, exactly. So, they had a. It turned out that they had a satellite dish that was still on the roof, and it was still plugged into something and drawing power, and the line wasn't clean, so it was putting out a lot of electricity, and it was creating a Faraday cage near the router in an area, so it was killing any signal that was around it.
In the
when
room.
I figured out what it was, I'm like, disconnect that, and it worked. It was amazing, magic.
Magic.
Some would call it science, but they'd be liars.
Yes, I remember I was asking, like, does anybody ever feel sick in this room? And they're like, what? I'm like, sick to your stomach, or like you have this awful feeling that something's watching you. Like, you asking if the room's haunted? I'm like, no, I'm specifically asking these questions because I think it's
for a reason
related. Sorry.
Yep.
Because Nikola Tesla put your goddamn satellite dish up there, and the whole fucking room is filled with electricity.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you, Nikola.
I just want to watch YouTube.
It was funny because no, just going through that, but I had another person. I was way too educated for this job, but it was what it was, and it was one of the best paying jobs I've ever had in my life. Go Union.
Yeah. When they're good, they're good.
Oh, they were powerful. So yeah, I didn't have to worry about paying for medical insurance. Wish I was still like that, but yeah. So there was another time where one of the managers came by. He goes, "Do you ever hear of something?" And he gives me like a scenario happening. I'm like, "Oh, there's probably a problem with the flux capacitor." Like, oh, okay. And he wanders off.
Did you check it? Did you rotate the flux capacitor? You got to try that first.
I was like, he also wandered off, and I'm like, okay, I was going to give you the real answer, but sure. And then he used it like in a meeting, and immediately one of the guys came out from the meeting. His name was Chris, and he goes, "You told Terry something about the flux capacitor, didn't you?" And I'm like, "No, it wasn't me. No." And he's like, yeah, it was. I'm like,
what are you, a cop? Am I being detained?
Seriously.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's the stupid crap I would say when doing tech support. I did have somebody asked if they could pray over me when I was fixing their issue.
Oh boy.
I didn't really care. I was like, knock yourself out.
I got the IP address to God.
Didn't say that. I kind of wish I had said that now. But no, I didn't.
777.77.
How's it even routing? It's routing to God.
Well, I think even God would have a 148, and then the sevens would proceed.
Yeah.
Like he's got to be in network,
Yeah, he would have something would be correct. Then the rest of it's all
but the rest would just be all fucking gobbledygook.
Doesn't work from there on out. But hey, might be an extra 3 numbers.
Randolph is out there somewhere crying right now because we made an IP joke.
Yeah,
he's on the floor in absolute pieces.
He's probably got a cake hangover because it's his wife's birthday yesterday. And when I called him, or when he called me, he just finished picking up this giant cake from the Chinese bakery down the road. So
was it loaded with rum?
He doesn't drink.
He doesn't drink.
So that's why it's like he'd be drunk off of sweets.
When I met him, he's like, "Yeah, no, I don't drink. I don't smoke drugs. I don't smoke." And I'm like, "What do you do?"
What else is there?
I drink a little bit, not much. Alcoholism and drug addiction ran heavily in my family, so
yeah,
gotcha.
Kind of turned me off to it.
I like beers, and I like a little bit of scotch once in a while, and good doobie once in a while. Yeah.
Doobie.
Every day.
I did have a really good beer at a place last week, at a brewery right around near where I live.
Nice.
I had a couple of beers there, and I'm quite the lightweight now. So
yeah,
it happens quick.
2 beers really knocked me a bit, and I'm like, I'm not driving.
Yeah, no, it's not a good idea.
Well, I also know some of the meds I take conflict with alcohol, so
mine do, but I still have occasional couple of beers here and there, so it's not a big deal. Like when I'm going to be in Texas for Faithless Forum in a few weeks or a couple weeks or whatever it is, I'm going to have a few drinks. A few beers.
You need to if you're going to Texas for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, but you see, it's in Austin, so it's like Austin's its own
Austin's
country.
Okay. I mean, Austin is that's the bastion of civilization in a way.
Yes,
It's the oasis in the desert of weird religious fanatics.
Yes.
Who don't want
going to be
women
staying
have
at the Hilton Hotel.
Ooh, the Hilton.
Indubitably. Was that guy from Family Guy? Was it the long bottom jar or something? What the fuck was his name? The guy that had a huge.
I know what you're talking about.
I know the character you're talking about.
I don't know that I actually knew what its name was. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like Long Bottom or something like that.
You could tell me it.
I thought it was a Harry Potter character.
Yeah, Neville Longbottom is who you said that, and now I can't stop thinking of Neville Longbottom. So the real hero of this tale.
Yep.
He's the real goat.
Oh, darn! I wish I could remember some of the other weird. I've had numerous weird conversations with street preachers and stuff. I wish I could remember some of them.
I never get those. I must give off that not worth it energy.
Well, that's what his name. This guy here, James William Bottomtooth.
No.
All right. There we go. The magic of
Family Guy.
Yeah, Family Guy.
Okay. I don't know what I was thinking of.
But yeah,
I don't do it often.
There was this guy in Boston. Like I used to see him all the time. Like outside of every sporting event or whatever else, and he'd have like this massive poster of like this cross with people being thrown off of it into hell and stuff, and be like, repent and all this other things. I was like looking like I remember looking at kind of turning my head. I'm like, you draw that? I'm like, it's not bad. He just kind of look at me like oddly. Then he'd be like, chick tracks?
Somebody got my reference.
Yes, exactly.
Of course it was Hellbound. The resident Family Guy expert.
Oh,
Don't
I remember
drink,
one
don't
of my...
smoke. What do you do? Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do?
I remember one of my funny encounters with religious fanatics. This one I was in Rhode Island. I was working for that giant telecommunication place. And I'd go in on like a Saturday and have to go to work. And I'd park my car because, near the place because the meters weren't running at those hours. And I'd come out and there'd be a chick track on my car. And I'd look at it and I'd be like, nah, I got this one. But, like if I ever got the Darkest Dungeon one, I usually kept that one because it was amusing. Most of the others I would just throw out. But I'd look at it and I saw who was the, what church it was affiliated with or whatnot. And I was like, okay, so Figured probably just 1 week thing, then we'll do it again. Like next weekend I'm working. It's there again.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like,
Knock it off.
all right. I forgot about it. Next Saturday I had to work. There were 2. I'm like,
We got a fan.
they're multiplying. And then, they're going to like every car and everything. I'm just like, why do I get 2? I don't want 2.
You get 2 special ones.
So at this point, I called them. I said, this is my car. This is my license plate. I'm often in Providence during these days for work. I'd prefer not to come out and finding litter on my car. Could you please stop putting it there? Or I'm going to go to your church on a Sunday and leave some Allison tracks. And, well, they didn't take me up on that. So I went and left some Allison tracks the next week. I never had a problem again.
Are we looking at time?
Yeah, well, I just noticed, man, we're like an hour and 11.
Oh wow, yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's like,
I
wow,
guess
this
it's somewhat entertaining.
Yeah, well, when you don't notice the time going by, it's usually means that you're having a good time. So that's a good thing.
I like doing this type of thing. I said,
Having a good
fortunately,
time.
my deconversion was fairly whatever, but it didn't
Yeah,
really.
but we fill the space with lots of stuff. Lots of stuff about you, like the artistry and the anime and manga that you got into and whatnot. I mean, it's still a great conversation. I was enjoying it.
If I could dig up some of my Allison tracks, I'll happily share them. But let's from years ago. They were pretty brutal too.
Well, I say we bring this to a close and get into an after party, and that way we can have some more folks in here with us.
Sounds good.
To shoot the shit a little longer. So that's what we're going to do, I think. So, Allison, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for
And
having
sharing
me.
some
I
of
love
your
doing
art. Yeah, well, it was great
time.
having you on.
I really appreciate it. And anybody who wants to come and watch me draw, I typically try to draw on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays over on Twitch, which is Alley Cat Comics.
Which is linked
Leave it
below.
in the doobly-doo stuff below. So,
Yeah. I got a bunch of links there for you. You got your DeviantArt, your Instagram, your Twitch, and your Twitter. So folks can find you there.
definitely follow me on Twitter. I post dumb shit all the time.
Can confirm. All right, well let's get into this after party. Thanks everyone in the chat, both over on Twitch, or not both, all of Twitch and Twitter and YouTube. I really appreciate you guys being here. It because there's lots of other things you could be doing, but you decide you want to come and hang out with us, and I very much appreciate for that. So thank you for hanging out, and also thanks to my wonderful patrons. Patrons, you guys are amazing. We'll do the ticker tape and show all the patrons during the after party. So if you're suspicious of who might be one of my patrons, you'll have to go and check that out over there.
Ooh,
but,
the tease.
Dangle the carrot if I had one. Dangle the carrot. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So thanks to my amazing patrons. Love you guys, and for what you do for me. I couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you very much for everything. Also, quick reminders of we did that one.
I know. My mouse is stupid.
Oh, that's right.
That's gotta be it. Mouse is stupid.
Yeah, it's
gotta be
blame it on the mouse.
You hear me right now, mouse? You're stupid.
Well, you can read the ticker tape. Randolph and I, we are starting out to call-in show. It'll be coming pretty soon, and it's called True North Talk.
Show?
Yeah.
Oh God, I definitely want to answer stupid people on a call-in show.
It's if you want to learn more about it, head over to www.truenorthtalk.ca, and you'll find out more about the show and when we'll be launching, and you'll have a link to the YouTube channel so you can watch us live. Myself and many other awesome people are the newer hosts of the revamped and relaunched Nonprofits that airs at 3 p.m. Central between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience.
Oh, so fantastic! I didn't realize you guys were doing that. That's fantastic.
Yep. I
knew you did some stuff with the ASTA before, but yeah. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
head over to the Nonprofits channel and give them a sub, and you can check it out. We just did the Halloween episode that I was a part of with my Star Trek uniform on and my phaser and communicator.
I haven't watched that episode yet. I'll have to watch it.
It doesn't sound spooky.
I don't know, but Cynthia was a great Michael Jackson.
Cynthia's awesome.
That's great. Well, that's awesome.
Yes.
I'm glad you guys are doing that. Fantastic.
This is true. A little bit of a double entendre, I think. But anyway, last but not least, usually the last Saturday of every month, myself and Andy and Seamus get together on a little show called Atheist Drinking Out Loud, where we go crazy for a couple hours and poke fun at shit. And we always have a guest with us. Mikey's been on the show. My very good friend Nick's been on the show. Bionic Dance has been on there with us. We've had lots of great Jay Burrell, who's been on there with us, and he's been on my show too. He does comic strips, so
cool.
he does
I love
pretty
him.
cool stuff too. Yeah, he was great too. I tried to get one of the stuffed animal, the bat or whatever, and they're out of them. I'm like, fuck.
Oh,
I'll have to wait until they have more, which kind of sucks. But yeah, anyway,
he should put one aside for you. Is what he should do. I
know. I'll talk to him, see if I can get one. There's 3 different sizes. You get a micro one, you can get like a mid-age, you get a big ass one. I want the big ass one.
Oh,
Binky, I think is his name or something.
Yeah, Binky.
Anyway.
I almost said something stupid and wrong. But,
that's me all the time.
I can feel that in the force, definitely.
That's me all the time.
Definitely wrong.
Stupid and whatnot all the time.
I say stupid.
All right, guys. As a little ticker down there says, link to the after parties in the description box. It'll also pop up on the screen after the credits roll. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to have the credits roll. So thanks, everyone. And thanks again, Allison. And until next time, guys, like I always say at the ends of the interviews, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye. Thanks for having me. It's a great time.